What's good with it in the hood with it? Welcome back to the collective clips where you already know. Tas. We get it in. But before we get it in, let's get this intro in. Welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that the gun stays kicking. And I appreciate your support. I'm very humbled by it. So yesterday I got an unfortunate phone call, man. Some pretty serious shit. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I felt it. I was like, damn, man, that dude was a cool dude. You know, every once in a while you come across individuals, people that you may not have never met in life, associated with, like you come from two different pasts, two different backgrounds, or at least you think you do, right? Two different histories. And being that this particular individual was a sureño, a Southsider, and a righteous one at that, right? Still in good standings, just getting his life together, coming from a background and a history of gangbanging, violence, all that shit, man. Getting his life together finally, right? So you could understand that being around people that you've never thought you would associate with, when you do meet them and you understand and you're able to befriend them, it's kind of like, damn, homie, what have I been missing out on? What is all my gang schooling and education and propaganda that was fed to me? How does that really affect my life, right? When there's righteous dudes from the other side out there that you could become friends with. So about 3 months ago, my brother-in-law, he does this thing where he comes by my pad every once in a while, early in the morning, and we'll pick up like any trash that I have, like yard debris, things like that. He takes it to the dump for me or whatever, right? He's just being a good brother-in-law, man. And sometimes I call him like, hey, I got some trash. And if he's in the area, he'll slide through with his truck. Because the company he works for, man, they do a lot of going back and forth to the dump or whatever. And he's in a position working for the state where he's just a driver of a vehicle, of a truck, and he has workers that work with him. So sometimes he'll come by my pad, my actual pad, right, with some of these guys, and I don't know them. And usually 9 times out of 10, they don't say nothing to me. I don't say nothing to them. It is what it is, right? But he pulls up about 2.5 months ago, 3 months ago, with this dude, and he jumps off the truck, and this dude's tatted back, big dude, bald-headed, southerner, right off the top, super Southsider, right? I see him. There's no disputing it. And I'm like, fuck, man, why are you bringing these types of guys to my pad? Because I'm not trying to have my whole spot fucking put out there like that or anything, right? Not scared, just aware, right? Real talk. And so as soon as I come outside, you know, old boy sees me and his eyes light up and he's like, hey, you're Gunner's Collective. I'm like, fuck, here we go, right? You done brought someone that recognizes me from my social media right to my fucking doorstep, straight up. So my first thought was, oh, shit, of course, right? My second thought was like, damn. Actually, that was my first thought was damn. My second thought was like, right? And so he wants to shake my hand, so I shake his hand. I meet him. He's cool, right? He's like, I'm from LA. I'm a Southsider, this, and that. And I'm like, cool. I mean, I could tell right off the bat. And we're talking about my channel and talking about bullshit. And I'm getting a little bit of his story, right? So they're there for about 10 minutes. We bullshit. They jam. I call my brother-in-law and I'm like, hey, bro, you can't just be bringing cats to my hand. Nah, this dude's cool, man. He ain't tripping like that. He's changed, right? He's just trying to get his life together. So over time and them coming back and forth, this dude's with them all the time. It's like one of his workers. I get to chopping it up with them and befriending him, right? And so this dude was from Los Angeles, from LA, had no family, you know, up here in Washington, had no family, just came to get away from the bullshit and live his life. He wasn't in bad standings. He wasn't a dropout. He wasn't none of that shit. He just was a Southsider fucking trying to work and get his life together. So he was in a program and he had his own apartment. And trip out on this, when I first started YouTube, not when I first started, but around the first year that I was involved in YouTube, I was living in Newark, California, right? I got a lot of familia there. I was helping take care of my uncle who has multiple sclerosis. That motherfucker be doing the Marty McFly, right? And then I moved this way, and me and my sister, my brother-in-law, we were all living together in an apartment. And I was just trying to get on my feet and get my shit together, right? And at that particular time, the apartments we were living in were ghetto. I'm talking about so bad that I used to smoke cigarettes, and when I'd go outside, like I didn't want to be out there around them motherfuckers. It was violent. Always domestic violence, always fucking shootings happening around that area, just bad, right? I didn't think it could get that bad around this motherfucker, but it was, right? And so I got to the point where I was like, man, if I'm gonna go smoke, I'm gonna just do it right here, fucking in the bathroom. I ain't even going out there. It's crazy. My brother-in-law was like, yeah, it's different. So around a few months after us living there, my brother-in-law at that time, his vehicle was fucked up. So, and I didn't have, my vehicle was non-existent, right? I ended up getting a vehicle. I had one, but it just, that motherfucker was riding on fumes. It just didn't work. And so my brother-in-law went out to catch the bus to go to work, and there was a bus stop right in front of the apartments, and shots were fired. People just cruising by there, let loose on him. Freaked him out. You know, he's not a gang member or nothing like that. So he came in the house shaking like a leaf, talking about, we got to move right fucking now. He called my sister at work and was like, get home. We got to go now. I'd never seen him, and he's a tough motherfucker, and I never seen him shook up like that. Imagine someone just driving by, shooting you up, doing a drive-by on you for nothing, just because you're out there, right? It was early in the morning, like 6 a.m. I heard the shots fired because I was in the house doing a whole lot of nothing, waiting for everyone to leave so I could make me a breakfast sandwich and contemplate life. And anyways, he comes in, and I was like, damn, that was you. And he was like, man, they almost killed me. So we ended up moving from that spot. And eventually, you know, when people are married, you just don't want to be a part of that. And I ended up doing my own thing and getting my own spot. And it's cool. Anyways, he's bringing the Southerner around my pad, and we ended up becoming cool. I learned his life, man. He was from LA. Like I said, just trying to get his shit together. Well, those same apartments that we used to live in, he moved into, right? And it's very dangerous, right? Have you ever been to an apartment complex that has just got a reputation for fucking dangerous activity? You know, always something going on, task force raiding, fucking shots fired, pit bulls barking, you know what I mean? Roaches crawling, like just whooping. It's just ghetto, right? And it's the people that make it that way. You know, it's the people that give it that reputation, man. Just a gang of gang members and dope and just no good, right? And we got away from that shit, but he was living there. So yesterday I get a phone call, man. Me and that Southsider homie ended up being real cool. And him and my brother-in-law were very, very good friends. And so yesterday I get a phone call, and the call is that I guess he would go to work. Typical Mexicano, man. You know, the brown people, we work hard, right? Got a reputation for that. We got a reputation for gang violence and hardworking. And I guess he would always show up to the spot, to the shop early, waiting on everyone to get there. Just typical fucking hard worker. And he would take the bus, you know, to the shop, to the job. And he was at that same bus stop that got shot up. My brother-in-law got shot up at, right? And he was waiting. And so my brother-in-law gets to work. And like he said, this dude would be there 2 hours early every day. Dude's not there. So he's kind of like, okay, did old boy call in or whatever? And they're like, no. You know, we thought, because sometimes he'd pick him up depending on time. And he was like, we thought you were going to bring him. And he was like, nah, I haven't heard. So all day long, the boss was kind of tripping because this is a dude who always called in, is pretty reliable. And I guess he, I don't know who got a hold of who, but they found out that he was waiting at the bus stop to go to work, and people just drove down and they smoked him, right? They got him. And I don't know if it was due to, I mean, this dude was pretty big, all blasted back. So he looked the part, but he wasn't living that lifestyle, man. He was just working, trying to go to work. You know, it's crazy. You can live that gang member lifestyle your whole life, in the mix, fucking shoot them up, bang, bang, going to these parties, disrespecting people, catching ops and all that bullshit. And then when you finally try to change your life, and it doesn't mean you drop out or you disrespect or you do something bad. You just say, you know what, fuck, I got to live, right? And you're trying to get your shit together like he was. He came from LA and he was just trying to work and you know, it didn't have no family here, didn't have no family there, like just on his own trying to make it. You know, it's so unfortunate that the tattoos, the look, all that can draw negative attention. That's why you see me, I'm looking like a nerd around this motherfucker, right? Because I'm not trying to draw negative attention. When I go out and about, I'm not trying to floss all the jewelry, floss all the tattoos, and act like I'm somebody that I'm not trying to be a part of that culture anymore. Yeah, I got what I got. I am who I am. I'm gonna stand on it, but at the same time, I'm not living that life. So, anyways, I guess he got shot, and no one even reported it. The police just happened to be driving down the street and seen a body at the bus stop in the middle of the street. I guess he fell off the curb, and they scooped him up. They got a hold of the job, and that's how they found out. Now he has no family or anything, so my sister, she knew who he was. My brother-in-law, like I said, a good friend of his. So they've taken it upon themselves because he has no family to claim him, and they're gonna get him cremated and keep him at the pad, right? That's good shit. That's good shit. I recognize that, and that's real. It's what you do for your homies. You know, it's crazy. You live the gang lifestyle, you be in the mix, right? And what do the homies say when you pass away? Damn, Holmes, that sucks, man. The homie's gone, and then they keep it pushing, not really realizing after death what happens. You know, some people pull up to the funeral with the fucking rest in peace T-shirt. They'll hang it in their closet for 12 years, and then their old lady would throw it out because she don't want that shit in her house, right? That's how it usually goes. But to actually have them cremated and placed on your mantle, man, that's some different type of shit. So yeah, man, it sucks that he got hit. Now the word going around is that, you know, it was just an opportunist thing, you know. And I wanted to kind of retell the story that I told a long time ago with that. You know, it's all about air and opportunity. You never know what's going on. This is why I tell people, don't be out late night. He was early morning for him. It was still dark when they got him. They got him about 4:30 in the morning. 4:30 in the morning at a bus stop, just trying to go to work, right? And they smoked him. And again, there's no one knows if he was in the mix or if he was doing something behind the scenes and this was a targeted thing. But according to the people that were around him, he was just a worker. Now that doesn't mean he wasn't still in the mix and someone caught him slipping, or maybe he burnt someone, or they were on him, right? Anything is possible. But it's just cool because he was a cool ass dude. And from the conversations we had, it wasn't like that, right? So trip out. I had a homeboy, man. I first met him in school, and he was the homie, very quiet, cool, laid back, smooth, right? Smooth character. His brother was a boisterous motherfucker. That's my boy. He ended up becoming a Marine, going to fucking Iraq and killing everything moving, right? That was my boy, his younger brother, who was my age. He was older than me, the homeboy David. And he grew up and eventually he married a chick. Okay. And the chick's family owned an RV. It was called Sundown RV in the Merced County area, right? It was pretty lucrative. Her father owned it. And so he married into that so that she had money, right? They had money. And she bought him for Father's Day a 64 Impala, a red 64 Impala on gold ones. This fool had the Escalade when they first came out. He had a big pad. They had 3 children. Like he was living, right? And she was pregnant with her 3rd child from him when she told him, hey, and they were living in Atwater. Atwater was taken over in probably in the 90s by the Southsiders, by the Upstaters, right? A-Town. One of my primos was actually instrumental in the whole takeover thing. Like he was part of establishing that gang out there with a couple other cats, right? From Long Beach. And so anyways, the homie's living out there. He's from a barrio in Merced, not from my neighborhood, but he's from a barrio. He's still in good standing, still in Norteño, but living his life. Again, another one that's just got his kids, got his pad, got his old lady. He's living his best life, right? And his old lady that night, you know how women are when they're pregnant, they get the munchies, they got cravings. She was like, I want a dipped cone from Foster Freeze. Now, the Foster Freeze in Atwater is pretty well known to be not a gang hangout, but it's like where it's located, there's a lot of gang members there. Like everyone passes down that street. So if you're there and the wrong people pull up, it's on and popping, right? It's always been like that. And him being a Norteño, he should have known, like, hey, there's a gang of Southerners always right there. But whatever his old lady wants, hey, he gets what he wants, he's going to give it to her, right? You know, when your lady wants something, you just do that. Your wife is your wife. That's happy wife, happy life. So anyways, he fucking jumps in his Impala. Out of all cars he could have took, and I don't know to this day why he did it, but he jumps in his Impala, which is attracts a lot of attention, being red in Atwater, a Sureño Southsider stronghold, right? Upstaters. And he pulls up to fucking Foster Freeze, and there happened to be some young Southerners cruising by, and they were on the hunt. They were just on the hunt, and one of their their things was la primera, right? If you want to be involved, who do I shoot? Fuck it, Holmes, like anybody. And they got him. They got him. They blasted him right there at Foster Freeze. Very vicious, like they jumped out the whip on him and blew his shit off, right? And I remember that, and it was unfortunate because I knew that he was just a good dude, even though he was a gang member in the past and he was doing his thing. It wasn't, again, like he dropped out or he was telling on people or none of that bullshit. He wasn't in and out of prison. He just was a man trying to raise his kids, but your past will catch up to you. Your look, what people think you're about. And it just is part of the game. So yeah, man, they got my Southsider homie. And I could actually say, it's crazy that nowadays I could say my Southsider homie. But yes, I've had a lot of Southerners, man, that I considered friends or homies. And even to this day, man, I got some good Southsiders that tap in with me. And they smacked them, and it's fucked up. And like I said, this just happened a day or two ago, and I found out yesterday, and I was just like, damn, man, that was a good dude. I mean, I don't allow many people to come to my pad, and he was one that after he came the first few times, he was more than welcome, because just the way he acted, he conducted himself with a lot of professionalism and respect. He knew my whole get down. He watched my channel. He recognized me, like I said, right from the gate. So that just was what it was. Anyways, man, be aware, be cautious out there, especially if you're all blasted, tatted back, and you're just trying to get your shit together, man. Your old ideas and your old symbolisms of what you once were or what you represent can catch up to you. Again, man, this could have been not even gang related, and someone just happened to, like I said, that was a dangerous fucking apartment complex. I used to feel it out there. Like, man, I remember one time I was chilling at the pad and I heard some chicks screaming. And the next thing you know, there was a gang of fucking SWAT team and task force. And I went outside to smoke a frajo, just looking out the front door. And they were fucking taking this chick. She was leaking. This dude had fucking stabbed her 100 times. And it was crazy. And I was like, man, I told my brother-in-law, we got to get up out of here. He said, you got money? I said, nope. He said, then we're going to be right here. Then that motherfucker gets shot at and he's like, we're going. I said, you got money? Nope. We're going anyways. Anyways, man, it's unfortunate. But, man, I'm glad that my sister, my brother-in-law are stepping up to take care of what they got to take care of for their friend, man. And they already know whatever they need, I got him, because he was a good dude, man. That was a good Southerner right there, man. Shout out to him, his peoples. And I know he doesn't have a lot of family, or at least he didn't talk about them, right? And so it's just an unfortunate thing. Anyways, I know this is a little downer video, but I just wanted to put it out there. And we're going to get to an all-new Super Norteño today. It's called The Violation. It's not what you think. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I honestly and truly believe in, and that's the betterment of all people. I just wanted to put this video out there so people can hear of what's really going on and how ex-gang members or even active gang members that are just trying to do their thing and live their life, all that bullshit can catch up to you, man. Be safe. Don't be out there running around at night or early mornings and thinking that motherfuckers ain't out there really lurking, because they really are. This video is sponsored by Barrio Liquors in Turlock, California. If you're out there in the Turlock area, in the San Joaquin Valley, the Central Valley, pull up, man, and get you something in Turlock at the Barrio. Also by Sticks and Stones Yard Service out there in Tucson, Arizona. If you need an estimate on a smooth and cool yard improvement, make sure you guys get a hold of Sticks and Stones Yard Service. My boy got you covered like a state blanket, itchy, but warm. This is the gun.